Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to read some more Beyond a Game. The Freaks, a Freak Circus fanfic found in a hard drive of our own. Your heart was racing. You didn't realize the feeling of the fast pace inside your chest until you returned back to the more crowded areas. Just right near the green tent, you tried to ease your heartbeat. You didn't want to die from a heart attack anytime soon. Your thoughts moved towards the green tent, right beside you, and your mind almost instantly wandered to the player. You peeked inside and saw that the show had just finished, so you let yourself in without much question. You need to find the player. Inside, you saw Hurricane backing the player to a wall. You immediately glared at the image that you were seeing. You had no reason to feel that inner irritation. This was supposed to happen, but you couldn't help it. For some odd reason, you felt oddly protective of the player. Maybe because it was their innocent and sweet behavior that made you drawn to them. When you noticed that the player's gaze, the look of unease, immediately stopped your way towards the two and snatched the player away from his gasp. Is that a new way to promote your show to make your visitors uncomfortable? Your words were almost accusing, even yourself seemed confused why you were acting such way. Oh, you're putting words in my mouth. If I'm only talking with them. His words didn't make you any less on guard. Hurricane didn't move his gaze away from you. It was almost like a staring competition. That was until Hurricane grinned at your bold action and pulled out a candy apple out of nowhere. What's this? He asked him suspiciously. The candy apple was meant for the player, so why was he giving it to you? Oh, this? We call it a love apple, or, you interrupted him before he could finish. Yeah, I know. Muck do more. I'm well aware. Mucka do more. I am aware. You already heard that line just about a dozen times. You want to skip this, though. You grabbed the apple from his hands, though you knew it was drugged. You didn't you only did it so you could leave the player alone for the meantime. Hurricane was not expecting you to interrupt him like that, and no less to know the name of the love apple. It wasn't something an average visitor would know or memorize. He was looking at you with curious eyes. As you took that player away from his tent, you saw that pirate. You knew the pirate was nearby. Watch it closely and quietly. That was in his nature after all. As Hurricane expected, pirate didn't answer and left without making a sound. Which he sighed, so dramatic, he muttered to himself. As you dragged the player out, you had a big frown on her face. Thanks for the save back there, the player said as they tightened the grip they had on your hand. Yeah, just don't like it if some stranger does that to you. It was a weird sense of satisfaction of getting the player out of there. You wondered if the feeling was a bizarre side effect of having your bodies transported suddenly to an alternate dimension, but it didn't make sense either because you feel just fine. You just hope that it wouldn't influence your future decisions when it matters. Or on the bright side, you were happy that you had someone you were able to relate and talk to with. As the player continued talking, you felt a sudden womb of unease covering your body like a shadow. You could feel your heartbeat quickening. The best beat making it to your ears. You turned your head around almost erratically. Are you okay? You heard the player's voice. Yeah. I just don't feel good. After a good second, that feeling of fear disappeared entirely as soon as the player started talking. A gut feeling was telling you it was Pirate. You looked towards the player who was holding your hand. That look of worry plastered on their face. Hey, I already told you I'm good. You smiled it off. Then your eye, the red tint. The player followed your eye movement. Want to go together to this one, though you were flattered with the player's invitation. He knew Pirate would look for them after the show, and he wanted to try to avoid the more important scenes that are meant to happen. So you shook your head. I'll go with you tomorrow, okay? I'll wait for you outside. The answer made the player's expression twist to one of disappointment. Is that so? Well, I can't force you. The player was undoubtedly sad. And truth to be told, you felt guilty for leaving them hanging. For you weren't here to waste your time on saying the same sayings and lines like before. You want to make the most of your time. You watched as the player went inside Pirate's tent. Then you looked around to see the circus was still lively, even during the late hours of the night. You were still unable to forget the interaction you had with Jester. Was he supposed to be there? Did he know what you were up to? Even though you loved these characters in real life scenario like this one, you didn't want to risk getting cut open for dinner. Even you knew knowing too much was dangerous. No, knowledge has always been a dangerous thing to you. Thing to own. A warm grip surged on your shoulders that made you jump in your place. When you turned around, you saw Jester. It was with that smile that almost reached his eyes. Hey there, visitor. Enjoying your stay so far? His words flew out of your head. You were more focused on his sharp claws digging into your shoulders, but not hard enough to bleed through your skin. Well, it has been quite the experience. When you first met him, you were sad and almost fumbled your first impression. But now that you calmed down from your high, the gravity of the situation feels more extreme. That's wonderful to hear, dear visitor. Your entertainment is very important to us. That tone of his never changed. The reason being because they had a reputation to maintain. They were already been accused of kidnapping the missing people in the city, so them being extra vigilant is no surprise. Have we met before? Jester said out of nowhere. And for once you were caught off guard. Why do you say that? He asked out of sheer curiosity. This is your first time meeting me, but that isn't the first case for me. You thought to yourself, for starters, you knew my name before I introduced myself. So, or have you caught whispers of it from others? At the mention of your last conversation with him, you simply minor mistake. You couldn't help but curse at yourself for being careless with your words. Yeah, that's it. The clear nervousness in your voice was audible. And there was no chance he didn't notice. Your expression was perfectly correct when he just stood there, staring at you. His height not exactly making you even feel more at ease. In the corner of your eye, you spot the player being approached by Parrot. Jester saw you focus shift and fall to where you were looking at. Jester, upon seeing Parrot interact with the little human, let a owl scoff. It wasn't loud, but he could hear enough to hear it. You were near enough to hear it. Do you perhaps know that little one? The Jester asked. He wasn't looking at you, and Ladder kept his eyes on the two. He hesitantly nodded. He hummed in response. Do you care about them? That question got you feeling even more uncomfortable. What the heck is this guy even planning? You didn't answer him, but you knew your silence answered his question. Your friend seems to have captivated one of my circus members' attention. That is truly an award-winning achievement. Well, smooth chuckle. You didn't know what to say, or a smile, a laugh, none of them appropriate, and you were too afraid to actually make the wrong move. Make sure to get home safely. You never know what monsters are in the dark. You didn't dare move your head to face him, but you could almost feel his presence closer to you than before. After he walked away, you took a sigh of relief to see the player approaching you. You look like you just saw a ghost. Are you okay? They aren't wrong. You felt a sweat drip from your forehead, and your fingers were shaking. Everything is fine. I'm just shaken up because of the performances. The player nodded. They, too, were frightened of the shows performed due to the excessive gore. The player took your hands in theirs with a smile. I'll walk you home, you said. You seem to be in a worse condition than me, the player offered. Their kindness almost melting your heart. You knew Pirate would be watching over them, so you at least felt safe about the player going home alone. So you nodded. That'll be nice, and that's kind of you. The player only shook their head at your words, just helping one another. And with that, they guided you out of the circus to the town. Reaching your destination wasn't a lonely process. On the way, you and the player laughed like you were two teenagers who just came from a long day of school. To you, it reminded you of the days where you were still a young student with the best friends to spend your day with. You want to thank the player for the great moment they were offering you, because you didn't imagine that you would be able to relive a moment that you thought was now perfect to you. When you arrived at the building, the players said their final goodbyes and went to go home to their house. You watched their figures disappear little by little until you couldn't see them anymore. You were out of breath you didn't know you were holding. You made your way inside the building to your apartment. Fumbling with your keys, you groaned in annoyance before finally unlocking your door and making your way inside. You turned on the lights and dropped your bag on your desk. The impact made the stuff on your desk jump slightly, which made you notice your sketchbook. You were fond of drawing during your school days and did it as a hobby for a long time. After graduating college and getting a job, you rarely spent time on it like you used to, except when you got into Freak Circus and started sketching them. You slowly open each page like that it was a sacred book. No matter how if it was downright terrible or good, you still smiled at it. It brought you good memories. This time, instead of stressing over what you should do next the following day, you decide to sit down and have some time to yourself. Since the sketchbook was practically staring at you in the eye, you grabbed the pencil from your pencil holder and opened it to an empty page where you started drawing to what came inside your head. At first, you started drawing the player, duels, then an actual portrait. Then mind scattered to those of 5 circus casts and started drawing them. Like the player, you started with random doodles, and then the more serious portrait of them. It didn't take long for you to finish up, stretching your back before getting up to prepare to clean yourself in the bathroom. In the shower, you start to memorize events that happened today. Confirm that the circus cast does kidnap and eat people. Eat humans. Jester he seems to be the star of the show today, and you didn't know whether it was a good thing or not. After that hot shower, you left your bedroom wearing much more comfortable clothes. You feel like tomorrow is going to be just as tiring, but maybe more tiring. Who knows? Tomorrow would be the day 2 of the game. After that, everything is going to be unknown, where you have to follow your gut at every turn. You hated that. You still remembered the game of the unfinished. You've suddenly remembered the end of the unfinished game, where it was shown that the cast was following the player as they went home. The mystery didn't sit well with you. Will the player be alright? You wouldn't know until you find out yourself. With that, you lay down on your bed and raised the blanket to your chest. Usually, you felt weird in your own room, but you brushed off and thought that today was just going was you brushed off and thought that today just gave you the spook. So you force your eyes shut and try to calm your nerves, while also stabilizing your breathing. In no time you were fast asleep like a baby, unknowns to you. Your balcony door was opened. From the outside, a gloved hand quickly opened the door and saw your sleeping form. The figure adjusted his hat as he left the door open. Lang, the cold air, entered the room. This was undoubtedly Ticket Taker. He was asked by Jester to find out about you, and so, as a diligent worker he is, he got to work as soon as possible. Laying himself in, he hummed in curiosity, and upon eyeing your room, not much to see, commented lightly. Your room wasn't the most organized, but it wasn't messy either. But Ticket Taker scoffed at the room he deemed as disarray. Humans unable to keep their bearings, he scoffed to himself. Well, he knew he was quite the approach. It wouldn't hurt to be careful nevertheless. At first, he looked through your bag and found your ID card, credit card, driver's license, nothing in particular. Then he looked through the drawers, just some papers and pens. In the back corner seemed like it was collecting dust, so he closed it back. You know that you seemed to enjoy collecting. You saw various varieties of books that ranged from novels to comics, then little trinkets and figures. He can't just come back to Jester empty-handed. He needed something more useful to report back, but he also wanted to satisfy his own curiosity. Then his eyes landed on the sketchbook you had previously just opened. Though it looks harmless on the surface, maybe he would be able to find what he needed in it. So he grabbed the book slowly and opened it, looking at each drawing you made. Luckily, each page has a written date. The drawings date back to a few years ago. Each page he opened, the more the drawings improved, and the dates got closer to the current year. As he drew nearer, he opened the next page and paused. There were drawings of him and other circus performers, Jester, Pirate, Doctor, and Harley Quinn. The dates of the drawing was way before they arrived. So how did you know about them? The Freak Circus of Horror. Wasn't mainstream, even if videos managed to appear online due to strict social media policy. It'd be taken down because of the blood and unsettling acts they did. This book made him see you in a different light. You weren't just any other visitor. You were a threat. There was a high chance that you knew the things they tried hard to hide from society, to keep on going, to avoid tension and possible danger that humans could pose to them. They may own sharp claws, but in terms of numbers, humans win. He closed the book back slowly, putting it back in its original place. He looked back at you, sleeping soundly. He thought that maybe you could be proven useful in the future, and for now, give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you were just a big fan who has been following their work for a while, and they just didn't notice you from large crowds they usually have in busy nights. For now, this information should be let known to Jester. He'll know what to do with you in the near future. Ticket Taker made one last look around the room before making his way outside the balcony, sliding the door back and shutting it clean before disappearing into the darkness. Back at the circus, a meeting was called by Jester. Everyone was present in Jester's tent, where the light was dim. You all must be wondering why I called this meeting besides Ticket Taker, that is. A brief pause happen in the room before Pyrot opened his mouth. No, but it better be born because I was about to do something. He was quickly cut off by Harry Quinn, a knowing smirk on his face. Oh, I know you were going to stop. Before Harry Quinn could finish his sentence, Jester glared at him, which got Harry Quinn to shut up. Enough, Harry Quinn. Do not tempt Pyrot into violence. I might not be able to help you next time. He waited to answer from Harry Quinn, which the clown sighed. Yeah, my bad. Then Jester turned to Pyrot, who was still glaring bullets at Harry Quinn. And Pyrot, this meeting is indeed born. But I am still thankful you showed up. Pyrot turned his head, and Jester nodded in silence. Jester took a good look around before sighing. As I said before, this meeting was called because I am here to make an important announcement. He looked over to Ticket Taker, wanting him to share the news. Ticket Taker cleared his voice and looked over to the rest. I have found quite the interesting human, but possibly possesses confidential information regarding the circus and ourselves. The news brought attention to the rest, who looked more serious. How could that be? The doctor asked. For him, just like the rest, marveled at the idea of a human who found out about their secret without at least one of them knowing or noticing. That is yet to be found out, but for now, it's our mission to be more careful around that human. I'm sure Harry Quinn and Pyrot, Irene, saw, interacted with this human. As for the doctor, you know when you see them. Ticket Taker explained, which got a nod from not only the doctor, but Pyrot and Harry Quinn too. Oh, so this is going to be fun, Harry Quinn said with mischief. As long as you do not get them into this. I will turn a blind eye, Pirate uttered in heavy tone. His claws practically gripped on his palm. What about you, Jester? It'll be odd for you to not have a plan of your own, the doctor said with interest. Of course, it'll be unlikely for Jester to not have a future-proof plan, or at least a few ideas he would like to strategize. Always observant, aren't you, Doctor? Well, you're right. I'm going to discuss some things with Ticket Taker to finalize some things. Jester said Ticket Taker had always been dangerous but mysterious duo. Jester and Ticket Taker had always been a dangerous but mysterious duo. Not only were they smart in organizing and strategizing, they worked well together and shared a mindset where they were able to agree on something easily. With how reliable the two are, neither the Doctor, Pirate, or Harry Quinn ever second thought their decision making. Jester cleared his throat before speaking again. I'm hope everyone is on board with this because we need to have our eyes more open than usual. With no objection, Jester nodded his head, pleased with the silent agreement. Good. Now I hope everyone will continue with their duties as usual tomorrow. It's going to be a long day, and a good night's sleep will only chance your focus and your diligence. Jester dismissed everyone but from his tent, each of them leaving to their own. Ticket Taker stayed behind, knowing that Jester still wanted to talk to him. What do you think, Bill? Jester asked, looking at him in the eye. Even though Jester trusts his instincts, getting input from others was just as important as his own, especially if that person's input was someone like Ticket Taker. Truth to be told, I haven't quite made up my mind on the situation, Ticket Taker said honestly. You know, that way Jester thought deeply, but if you were to ask what I'm thinking right now, I would say we should give that human a chance. They're incredibly interesting. It was rare for ticket taker to falter for a human, let alone someone who he didn't give his ticket to. Is that so? Jester muttered. New thoughts were forming. How should I say this? Jester's words piqued ticket taker's interest. I should play with them a bit, toy around, see how that goes. It looks like Jester was talking to himself rather than ticket taker. Wherever you see fit, ticket taker has faith on Jester's ability to control the situation. But I'll see you soon. You should head to your own tent, Bill. At the suggestion, ticket taker nodded and left without another word. Now Chester alone, he had more focus on his thoughts, and a sadistic smile formed on his face. Oh, the things I have in store for you, dear one. And that was Chapter 4 of Beyond the Game. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, comment down below, and liking the video. And I'll see you guys next time.